Hello, I'm Dr. Emily Hart, and if you're a man over 50, what I'm about to tell you could literally save your life. I'm a board-certified physician specializing in men's health, and over the past 17 years, I've treated thousands of men dealing with prostate issues. And what I've discovered is absolutely shocking. There's a food that nearly every American man eats multiple times per week, something that's considered completely normal, even healthy by many people. But this food is silently destroying your prostate gland from the inside out. Before I reveal what this food is, I need you to understand something critical. If you're experiencing any prostate symptoms, frequent nighttime urination, weak urine stream, difficulty starting or stopping urination, or that feeling that you can never completely empty your bladder, these aren't just minor inconveniences. They're warning signs that something serious is happening inside your body. And if you ignore these warnings and continue eating the food I'm about to expose, you're putting yourself at serious risk for prostate enlargement, chronic inflammation, and potentially something much worse. Let me tell you about Richard. Richard was 56 years old when he first came to my office. He was a retired firefighter, tough as nails, the kind of guy who never complained about anything, but he was miserable. He was waking up 4 to 6 times every single night to urinate. His stream was so weak, it took several minutes just to empty his bladder. He couldn't sit through a movie without needing the bathroom. Long car trips were torture. And the worst part was the constant anxiety, always wondering where the nearest bathroom was, always worried about embarrassing situations. Richard had already been to 2 urologists. They both told him the same thing: benign prostatic hyperplasia, which is medical terminology for an enlarged prostate. They said it was just part of getting older and offered him medications with side effects that included dizziness, fatigue, and sexual dysfunction. Richard didn't want to spend the rest of his life on pills, so he came looking for alternatives. That's when I started investigating his diet and lifestyle, and what I found changed everything. Richard was eating the dangerous food I'm about to reveal to you at least 5 times per week, sometimes twice in a single day. And here's what most doctors don't understand. This food doesn't just contribute to prostate problems. It's actually one of the primary drivers of prostate inflammation and enlargement in men over 50. When I explained this to Richard, and he eliminated this food from his diet completely, the results were nothing short of miraculous. Within 2 weeks, he was down to waking up just once per night. Within a month, his stream strength had improved dramatically. And within 3 months, his prostate had shrunk by over 30%, and all of his symptoms had virtually disappeared. So what is this dangerous food that's destroying prostates across America? It's conventional dairy products. Now, before you think I'm crazy, let me explain exactly why dairy is so devastating to the prostate gland, because the science behind this is absolutely clear once you understand what's really happening. Here's what most men don't know. Modern dairy products contain high levels of hormones, particularly estrogen compounds and growth factors like IGF-1. These aren't natural components that have always been in milk. These are the result of modern dairy farming practices, where cows are milked during pregnancy when their hormone levels are extremely elevated. Studies have shown that commercial milk contains over 60 different hormones, and many of these hormones have direct effects on prostate tissue. When you consume dairy products regularly, especially milk, cheese, and ice cream, you're flooding your body with these external hormones. Your prostate gland has receptors that are extremely sensitive to hormonal signals, and when it's constantly bombarded with these dairy-derived hormones, it responds by growing and becoming inflamed. This is why we see such strong correlations between dairy consumption and prostate enlargement in population studies. Countries where men consume the most dairy have the highest rates of prostate problems. It's not a coincidence, but the hormone problem is just the beginning. Dairy products also trigger a cascade of inflammation in the body, particularly in men over 50. As we age, Many men develop varying degrees of lactose intolerance because we naturally produce less of the enzyme lactase that's needed to properly digest milk sugar. When you can't fully digest dairy, it ferments in your intestines, creating inflammatory compounds that circulate throughout your body. And guess where a lot of that inflammation concentrates? Right in your prostate gland. There's also the problem of casein, which is the primary protein in dairy. Casein has been shown to promote the production of a compound called IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1, which stimulates cell growth and division. Your prostate cells are particularly responsive to IGF-1, and elevated levels have been directly linked to prostate enlargement and increased risk of serious prostate disease. Multiple studies have found that men with the highest dairy intake have significantly elevated IGF-1 levels and correspondingly higher rates of prostate problems. Let me share another patient story that really drives this home. Thomas came to me at age 62 with severe prostate symptoms. He was on 3 different medications, still getting up 5 times per night, and his quality of life was terrible. His doctor was recommending surgery to remove part of his prostate. When I reviewed his diet, I found that Thomas was consuming dairy at almost every meal. Milk in his morning coffee, cheese on his lunch sandwich, ice cream most evenings, yogurt as snacks. He genuinely believed he was making healthy choices because that's what he'd been told his entire life. I explained to Thomas that his beloved dairy products were likely the root cause of his prostate nightmare. He was skeptical, as most men are, but he was also desperate enough to try anything. I put him on a completely dairy-free protocol and added in some specific nutrients to support prostate health. The transformation was remarkable. Within the first week, he noticed improvement. By week 3, he had cut his nighttime bathroom trips in half. 3 months later, Thomas called me with results from his follow-up ultrasound. His prostate had shrunk by 40%. His urologist was stunned and asked what he'd been doing. When Thomas said he'd just stopped eating dairy, the urologist literally didn't believe him. Now, I can already hear the objections. But Dr. Hart, I've been told I need dairy for calcium, for strong bones, for protein. Let me address this directly. The dairy industry has done an incredible job of convincing us that we need their products, but the science tells a very different story. Multiple large-scale studies have found that countries with the highest dairy consumption actually have the highest rates of osteoporosis and bone fractures. The high protein content of dairy actually causes calcium to be excreted from the body. You can get all the calcium you need from leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and other plant sources, and your body absorbs it much more effectively. As for protein, dairy is absolutely not necessary. You can get superior protein from fish, grass-fed meat, eggs, legumes, and plant sources without the hormonal baggage that comes with dairy. In fact, many of my patients report feeling significantly better, with more energy and better digestion, once they eliminate dairy completely. Here's something else that's crucial to understand. The prostate damage from dairy doesn't happen overnight. It's cumulative. Every glass of milk, every slice of cheese, every bowl of ice cream adds to the hormonal load and inflammatory burden on your prostate. Over years and decades, this chronic exposure leads to the progressive enlargement and inflammation that creates all those miserable symptoms. This is why prostate problems are so common in men over 50. It's not that your prostate suddenly decides to malfunction. It's that 50-plus years of dairy consumption has finally taken its toll. But here's the good news. Unlike many health conditions where damage is permanent, prostate tissue can actually heal and shrink when you remove the irritating factors. I've seen it happen hundreds of times in my practice. Men who eliminate dairy, even after decades of consumption, experience significant improvements in their prostate health. The gland shrinks, inflammation decreases, symptoms improve, and quality of life is restored. Now let me be specific about which dairy products are the absolute worst offenders. Regular milk is at the top of the list because it's consumed in large quantities and has the highest hormone content. Cheese is a close second because it's concentrated dairy, meaning all those hormones and inflammatory compounds are concentrated as well. Ice cream combines dairy with sugar, which creates an even more inflammatory combination. Yogurt, even the kinds marketed as healthy probiotics, still contains all the problematic hormones and proteins. Some men ask me about alternatives like lactose-free milk or A2 milk. Here's the truth. Lactose-free milk still contains all the hormones, casein, and IGF-1 promoting compounds. A2 milk might be slightly easier to digest for some people, but it still has the same prostate-damaging properties. If you're serious about protecting your prostate, you need to eliminate all forms of conventional dairy. What about organic dairy, you might ask? While organic is certainly better in terms of not having added hormones, pesticides, and antibiotics, the cows are still producing milk during pregnancy, which means the natural hormone content is still very high. Studies have shown that even organic dairy consumption is associated with elevated prostate problems. So while organic is a step in the right direction, it's not a solution if you're dealing with prostate issues. I want to talk about what happens in your body when you stop consuming dairy. In the first few days, you might actually feel worse before you feel better. This is because your body is adjusting and eliminating stored inflammatory compounds. Some men experience temporary digestive changes, or even mild withdrawal-like symptoms if they've been heavy dairy consumers. This passes quickly, usually within 3 to 5 days. By the end of the first week, most men notice they feel lighter, less bloated, and have more consistent energy. By week 2, if you've been having prostate symptoms, you'll typically start noticing improvements. The urgency decreases, the nighttime trips become less frequent, the stream improves. By the end of the first month, the changes become really noticeable. And if you stick with it for 3 to 6 months, you'll likely see substantial improvements in prostate size and function. Let me share what you should eat instead of dairy. For calcium, focus on dark leafy greens like kale, collards, and bok choy. These provide highly absorbable calcium, along with magnesium and vitamin K, which are critical for bone health. For creaminess in coffee or cooking, use unsweetened almond milk, coconut milk, or oat milk. For cheese alternatives, there are now many excellent nut-based options, though I generally recommend using these sparingly and focusing more on whole foods. For prostate support specifically, there are certain foods that are particularly beneficial. Tomatoes, especially cooked tomatoes, contain lycopene, which has been shown in numerous studies to support prostate health. Pumpkin seeds are rich in zinc, which is critical for proper prostate function. Fatty fish like salmon and sardines provide omega-3 fatty acids that reduce inflammation. Cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower contain compounds that help balance hormones. And green tea provides powerful antioxidants that protect prostate tissue. I also recommend specific supplements to accelerate prostate healing. Saw palmetto has been extensively studied and shown to reduce prostate enlargement and improve urinary symptoms. Beta-sitosterol, a plant compound, has been proven to improve urine flow and reduce residual bladder volume. Pyjum, an extract from African cherry bark, reduces prostate inflammation. And stinging nettle root helps reduce the conversion of testosterone to DHT, which is a major driver of prostate growth. But let me be absolutely clear. Supplements are supportive, not substitutes. The single most important thing you can do for your prostate health is eliminate dairy from your diet completely. This isn't about moderation. This isn't about having dairy just once in a while. If you're dealing with prostate issues, you need to be 100% dairy-free. Even small amounts of dairy can trigger inflammation and hormonal disruption that sets back your progress. I want to address the social aspect of this because it's real. Dairy is everywhere in American culture. It's at every restaurant, every social gathering, every family meal. People will question your choices. They'll tell you you're being extreme. They'll pressure you to just have a little bit. You need to be prepared for this and stay committed to your health. Your prostate doesn't care about social pressure. It only cares about whether you're putting inflammatory, hormone-disrupting foods into your body. Here's a strategy that works well. Don't make a big announcement about going dairy-free. Just do it quietly. Order your food without cheese, drink your coffee black or with non-dairy milk. Skip the ice cream. Most people won't even notice, and those who do don't need a detailed explanation. A simple, "I feel better without it," is sufficient. Let me talk about what you can expect long-term if you stay dairy-free. First, your prostate symptoms should continue to improve over time. Many men reach a point where they have essentially no symptoms at all. Second, you'll likely notice other health improvements: better digestion, clearer skin, more stable energy, easier weight management, reduced inflammation throughout your body. Third, you're dramatically reducing your risk of serious prostate disease. The research on this is clear. Men who consume the most dairy have significantly higher rates of aggressive prostate problems. I also want to mention that dairy elimination works synergistically with other healthy lifestyle practices. When you combine dairy-free eating with regular exercise, stress management, adequate sleep, and avoiding other inflammatory foods like excessive sugar and processed oils, the benefits multiply. Your body has an incredible capacity to heal when you stop poisoning it and start supporting it properly. One more patient story. Gerald was 68 when his wife insisted he come see me. He'd been suffering with prostate problems for over a decade. His life revolved around bathroom locations. He was embarrassed, frustrated, and resigned to a diminished quality of life. 3 different doctors had told him surgery was his only option. When I suggested eliminating dairy, he looked at me like I had 3 heads. But his wife was determined, and she took control of their kitchen. 6 months later, Gerald's prostate had shrunk dramatically. His symptoms were 90% improved, and he'd avoided surgery completely. He told me that getting his life back was like being given a second chance. That's what this is really about. It's not just about urinary symptoms or prostate size. It's about quality of life. It's about not being controlled by your bladder. It's about sleeping through the night. It's about the confidence to go places without anxiety about finding a bathroom. It's about aging with vitality instead of deterioration. The choice is yours. You can continue eating dairy and accept worsening prostate problems, increased symptoms, medications with side effects, and potentially surgery down the road. Or you can eliminate this one category of foods and give your prostate the chance to heal. Based on 17 years of clinical experience and hundreds of patient success stories, I can tell you that the second option works remarkably well for most men who commit to it fully. Your prostate is trying to tell you something. Those symptoms you're experiencing aren't random. They're your body's way of signaling that something is wrong. And now you know what that something is. Dairy is slowly destroying your prostate, but you have the power to stop that process today. Make the decision to go completely dairy-free for 90 days. Track your symptoms carefully. Get before and after measurements from your doctor if possible. I'm confident you'll be amazed at the results. Thank you for watching, and here's to your prostate health and your quality of life.